All right, so today we're going to be talking about how do you chat safely online. So our essential question is, how do you chat safely with people you meet online? So I want you guys to look at your list, and I want you to think about how well you know the people that you put on your list, and what is that based on? Okay, so I want you to stop and think about that for just a second. All right. So some of the things that you could have thought about is like, how often do you see that person? How often do you text or message with that person? Another thing is, how long have you known that person? That can determine how you communicate with people. Whether or not you know that person in real life, or do you just know them online? And whether you know that person through an online group, or is it just a random person that you've decided to chat with. So as you can see, people use different criteria to decide how well they know someone. People can have fun and harmless communication with people they don't necessarily know that well. But always remember that how well you know someone before you share information about yourself is very, very important, okay? So I want you to consider that it's important to remember how well you know someone before you share your personal information. So I want you to think, why do you think this is important to consider, like how well you know somebody before you share that information? Why do you think that's important? And I want you to write that off to the side. All right, so sharing with someone can be risky. They can take your private information, and that can cause all sorts of things to happen. So you really don't know what's going to happen if you share with somebody you don't know. So we have this word risky. What do you think the word risky means? I want you to write that off to the side, okay? What do you think the word risky means? All right, so risky is potentially harmful to one's emotional or physical well-being. So you can have risky behavior, such as, people who like to jump off the cliffs, or people who like to race bicycles really fast, or things like that. So that is risky behavior. And risky behavior, one thing you don't want to be risky with is your private information. So I want you to think about, what do you think private information is? All right. What do you think private information means? And what is that definition? I want you to write that off to the right there. All right. So private information is information about you that can be used to identify you because it's unique. So your full name or your address. So off to the right, I want you to write what you think private information is. Give me some examples of private information. So go ahead and do that. All right. So some of the things you could have written down were your phone number, your full name, your address, your social security number, your parents' name, your password. All those things are private information. And those are things that we want to keep to ourselves and we don't want to share with anyone. So we're going to look at a couple of scenarios, and I want you to do some things with these scenarios, okay? So scenario number one reads like this. Sarah's soccer coach connected with Asel, a player he coaches from a nearby town. Sarah and Asel play both goalie and have other common interests like playing in band. They've been chatting off and on for about a month through social media messenger app. They talk about games and problems they are having at school with friends. They have shared when and where they will be playing soccer. They have also told each other their team names, logos, and favorite soccer fields in the area. Last week, Asel sent her some memes of soccer players that included some bad language and some inappropriate images. Asel mentioned that she should probably make sure her parents didn't see it. All right, so I want you to look at these scenarios and I want you to answer the question. All right, the first question is, how did Sarah come in contact with this person? I want you to write that down off to the right. And then I want you to write down, what information do you think Sarah shared? All right, so go ahead and write those down. All right, so Sarah, how she came in contact with this person was through her soccer coach. He connected her with a cell. And then what is some information that she shared? Well, she shared about her games, and they shared about some problems they were having with school with friends, and they shared where they would be playing soccer. They also told them their team names, their logos, and their favorite soccer fields in the area. Okay, so those are some things you could have written off to the right. So let's look at scenario number 2. All right, so scenario number 2 reads like this. This is Sarah's other one. Sarah loves taking pictures and posting them to Instagram. A few months ago, she noticed Alex East West 13 liked several of her photos and commented, "You are so talented." Sarah was flattered. Then she received a private message from Alex East West 13 asking if she was a professional photographer or if she wanted to be one someday. Sarah responded that it was her dream to be one when she grew up. Now they talk a lot through private messaging. Sarah also posts comments on Alex East West 13's photos, which are mostly of random objects and nature scenes. Last week, Alex East West 13 asked if she would post more selfies because "I think you are beautiful." Alex East West 13 also messaged her a cell phone number so she could send more personal pictures. "Just don't tell anyone I gave you this," Alex East West 13 commented. So I want you to do the same thing. I want you to tell me, how did Sarah come in contact with this person? And then I want you to tell me what personal information did she share. So go ahead and do that off to the right. So Sarah came in contact with this person on Instagram, okay? And the things that she shared were things about her dreams. They were sharing through private messaging. She was sharing random objects, which is not so bad. But then Alex took a turn for the worst there. So I want you to think about which of these two scenarios, the one with soccer or the one on the Instagram, which of these two scenarios do you think is the worst one that Sarah is in? And I want you to tell me why it's the most dangerous one and why. Okay, so go ahead and do that. All right. So I think that the Instagram post is the worst one of these. And the reason that I think that this is the most dangerous is, one, Sarah doesn't know this person at all. So we don't know who Alex East West 13 is. It could be anybody, and it may not even be his name. But the big kicker is when he asked if she would send more selfies because he thinks she's beautiful, and also he messengered her a cell number and told her not to tell anyone. So these are two very bad things that are going on here. So Sarah needs to watch out with what she is doing. And I would not do scenario number 2. Scenario number 1 is not so bad just because her coach introduced them. And so her coach would know this person personally. So that one doesn't worry me as much, though posting things that are swearing and telling people not to tell people is not a good thing either. But I don't think it's quite as dangerous as this Instagram post. All right, so we're going to stop this video right now. And if you have time, if there's still time left in the class, you can start video number 2.